Hey, I'm Pat Monahan. This is Patcast number, I think 3,409, or maybe it's 14 or something. But let's see, what have I been doing the last week? I came back from Hawaii. I went to Minneapolis. It's starting to get cold there, but it's still really lovely. I've been spending a good amount of time in the Bay Area, and that's been exciting for me. A good friend of mine, Jane Ganal, interviewed me for a fundraiser at the Throckmorton Theater. If you ever get a chance to go to Mill Valley, California, it's a really beautiful, small little theater that Bay Area comics and musicians, they go there to try out some of their material, do one-man shows, one-girl shows, all that kind of thing. And so Jane interviewed me in front of a live audience, and Jerry Becker and I played a couple songs before Jerry left to grab a red-eye, pick up his mom, and go to Ireland for a week. So that's pretty cool. Hope everything's going great there for him. So here we are, and here's my next guest. Last week, I think we were talking about the Bottle Rock Festival that we did in Napa, in addition to playing that show. And man, the environment there was pretty stunning. It was like the old days, and it was beautiful out in wine country in Napa. And we went around doing podcast interviews with a bunch of other musicians, like the Secret Sisters, who you heard a couple weeks back, and also Jim Brewer, my comedian friend who was just this week. He talked about all of his years of comedy, and then we destroyed a Metallica song. So if I ever get a chance to podcast the Metallica guys, I'll be sure not to play them that version. This week we've got a singer-songwriter, professional surfer. I've never met that combination before, but his name is Donavon Frankenreiter. That name just sounds important. This was my first time meeting Donovan, and I did find his mustache intimidating at first, but I soon realized that under the mustache was a bologna sandwich and also a beautiful guy who was gentle and talented and really a lovely guy. Donovan was a surfer first, and his surfing landed him a sponsorship by Billabong, which led him to a lot of surf-related travel, which led him to Hawaii, which led him to renting a room from Jack Johnson. They became friends, and Donovan had been playing in bands since he was young, but it was Jack Johnson that gave him his first record contract and got him started on a serious music career. One of the other notes here is the song that I asked him if we could do, called "Glow," was written or co-written. I think it was written by Matt Nathanson, another friend of ours. He still surfs, tours, and lives in Hawaii. Guys, living my dream. So anyway, we were in Napa, and I believe it was Saturday morning, the second day of the festival. Donovan and his band just arrived from Hawaii, and they set up in this little tent dressing room so we could jam. And you hear a bunch of rumbling and some other bands playing during the interview, and that was just part of the festival. It's sort of a half outdoor covered area, and Donovan's band was hanging out in the dressing room having a couple of beers and just relaxing before it was time for them to go and play. And when we got around to playing a song, we were lucky enough to have Donovan, Jerry, myself, and Donovan's friend and bandmate Grundy join in. Yeah, he's an awesome guy too. It was really cool for us all, and I'm psyched that we get to bring this to you right now. So here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this week on the Patcast, it's the multi-talented Donavon Frankenreiter, recorded live at Bottle Rock 2013 in Napa, California.
What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking at you. You got to get it while the getting is good. Laugh when you can, cry when you should. You got to give it till the giving is gone. Do what you can, then you move on. What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking at you.
Hey, it's Pat again, and I'm here with one of my close friends, hopefully to be, Donavon Frankenreiter. And I just found out that he just came in today into Napa from Kauai, where he lives. How are you, Donovan?
I'm doing great, yeah.
Hey, man, thanks for doing this. I hate describing people's music, so I'm not going to do it.
Oh, please don't
But
let me.
for people who don't ask you to do it. I just think that people who go beach vibe are so lucky because like everybody wants to go to the beach all the time, you know. So like there's people that like I'm from Pennsylvania originally. Everybody just wants to go to the beach. So
Yeah.
you know, you think about that all the time. Is that kind of what you do, you think?
I mean, I do. I'm at the beach as much as I can be.
And your
that's-
music is too, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's where it started for me. Through my surfing career, I started surfing at the age of 10, and I turned professional at the age of 16, and that's when I picked up a guitar. And
But
so
you're
it
from
was-
California. You're not from Hawaii.
Yeah, from California. And it was just through all my travels, traveling around the world,
Yeah.
bringing a guitar with me, and I'd see somebody, or they'd be like, hey, you got a guitar? I play. And I would learn chords and learn songs, and that was how I learned how to play music, was
Yeah,
through surfing.
everybody's imagination is that when, you know, because the coolest people in the world are the surfers and then everybody else is like the basketball players or whatever. But is the imagination true that you guys get out of the water, you hang out around a campfire, everybody knows how to play guitar and sing great, and you have like the best, some kind of tequila sunrise, and then you're good?
Well, that's kind of like the dream scenario. I mean, we've played shows before where we've played on the beach where we could surf and then come in and play a show. And, you know, I mean, when we're on surf trips, you know, sometimes on boat trips, or we're on a trip that, you know, you can roll onto the beach after a session and there's a campfire and there's guitars. I mean, that's sort of like a dream scenario in my life. I love when that happens.
Yeah,
You know,
me
I mean,
too, man. And
I
so
always-
Hawaii kind of is the built-in dream scenario as it is, right?
It is.
How
I mean,
often are you there?
I live there full time. I got a wife.
But I mean, how often are you there? Because you travel so often,
I'm on
right?
the
Do
road.
you still?
Yeah, I'm on the road 7 or 8 months out of the year. So
Yeah, me too.
I'm there 4 months out of the year, and it's incredible.
And you
I
have
mean,
children? And
Yeah, I got 2 boys, a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old. And my
have you
wife.
started them out on the waves yet?
They're in the water. The 10-year-old, I can't keep up with them anymore. It's
crazy, right?
And then the 6-year-old, he's trying to do everything that his older brother's doing. So it's
That's amazing. He'll be the one who would just be like death-defying tricks,
yeah,
right?
I got to tell him, slow down. You're not old enough yet. Don't
Yeah.
don't do what he's doing. So it's
But then he does it, and you're like, damn, that was awesome.
Yeah. He's starting to do stuff that my older son didn't do until he was older, and it was like it's crazy.
Right. You know, I watched this. I was just in Maui, and that's kind of become the island that I'm attracted to the most because of just my trips out there. You know, you depending on the weather and the vibe and how people are treating you at the time or whatever the atmosphere is, something that happens, you go like, oh, this place is magic. And for me in Maui, the last time I was there, it was the perfect stay. We played some music, and I got to see some really great people. But then at the end, right before we left, I had to take a red eye out to go to like Vegas or something. Right before I left, all of these dolphins started to jump in front of us, and I was like, "This is incredible." 2 minutes later, a killer, like an orca whale,
Oh my gosh.
spouts water, then jumps up, and the whole ocean moves when it lands. And then all these flying fish come, and then a turtle like swims up to us. We're like, okay, man, we're coming back. But Kauai, when I've gone, it's been rainy, but Kauai Coffee Company is one of my favorite places to visit.
Yeah, it's you know, Kauai is one of those places when you live there, you don't the rain doesn't bug you, but if you're only there for a week and it rains your whole trip,
Yeah.
you know, it'll kind of bum you out.
How
you
did
know?
how did that island be the island that you chose? Is your wife from there?
No, because at the age of 16, I ironically I rented a room from Jack Johnson. That's how my music career started.
Yeah,
I
of
signed to
course.
his label, and that whole thing happened. But I've always been in love with the Hawaiian culture, and
Yeah,
I've loved
me
the
too.
Hawaiian Islands. I just love that culture so much. And when they show you aloha or anything that they do, it's like the most incredible love I think
Yeah.
in the world. And I love Oahu. I love all the islands, but Kauai on the North Shore where I live seems to be one of the kind of the slowest, you know, but not too slow
Yeah,
where you'd
I think
actually
you're right.
I'd lose my mind. But
Yeah, it's not like Lanai.
yeah, or
Right.
Molokai, or you know, one of the spots. It's not too slow where it's just there's nothing there, but it's slow enough for me where I don't have to drive much because I think it's like it gets chaotic on the road, and so I love to go somewhere where I can go home and I can just decompress, and then regain some strength and energy and get ready to hit the road again. And
Right.
that's the place I love the most.
It sounds like, you know, a lot of musicians, like, I think that when you hear your music, I think that you would assume, like, that guy's a pretty heavy-duty guy. Like, he's a spiritual guy. He believes in something other than himself. I think more of us are like that than maybe we get credit, or because there's such a party that comes with the the unknown. It's like, oh man, that guy's just drinking whiskey until he gets on stage, and then he's smoking weed until he goes to bed, and then he wakes up with 6 blondes. You know, it's like, but the reality is, it's like when you're in Hawaii, it just sounded like you respect them so much that they in return respect you, and I think that's very important. I've learned that a lot about Hawaii.
That's
like,
what
I love
love
the people and the culture there as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and now every time I go, I'm loved and respected in the same way. You feel like that's what happens when you go there?
Yeah, I think that's the thing that attracts me the most. And my kids, get to learn a culture and get to learn the meaning of respect, and I think in a really neat way, you know, in a beautiful way. And everybody there, if they're older than you, they're always auntie or uncle. All of my son's kids, all of his friends, they call me auntie and uncle. Everybody's family. You know, when I was in California, we'd go to parties and be like, hey, you got to get a babysitter. It's adults only. You know, but in Hawaii, they'd actually be offended if you didn't bring your kids to a party. They'd be
we
like,
never go anywhere
if
our kids can't go.
So it's incredible there. It's all about family.
Yeah,
and,
I love
it. It's a magical vibe. So
I hope. Will you be around after this interview? I'd love for my family to meet you, because we're all about that vibe. So,
and I'm inviting you guys to Kauai, because we're gonna.
I'm
gonna
take
go
you
up
up on
I've
that.
heard about your surfing, so I want to get you in the water.
No, I'm terrible. But my wife, Amber, she'll jump up on a board and be like, "Oh, is this how you do it?" And then all of a sudden she's in a huge curl, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" So there was a few things that I want to make sure that I get to, because as I was looking into your history and listening to your catalog and everything, I saw a name. One of my favorite people on earth is G Love.
Yep.
And he's a Philly boy. I'm from Pennsylvania as well originally. How did you get to know G Love, and how did he end up on your record and all that other stuff?
It was incredible. I knew him prior to going to the North Shore and hanging out with Jack and making that record. But while we were making the record, I remember Jack, he produced it, and he said, hey, G Love would be great on this track. And
so he was friends with G Love too?
He was friends, yeah. And they did that many songs together before I got together with him. But I knew G Love through music, and he surfs. He loves the beach. He always goes out to Jersey and goes out to all these different spots on the East Coast and surfs. But I called him, and he came out and played on that first album.
Yeah.
And it was insane. When the record came out, he gave me my first opportunity, instead of Jack, to open up for him. So
really?
I went out and opened up for him all around the world, and I did that with Jack. And it turned into a thing where G Love has played on every single record. Whenever you hear harp, it's him.
Yeah,
and,
that's cool.
And he's a great friend. And whenever we just were at Tortuga Festival in Fort Lauderdale like 2 weeks ago, and he was there, and we got together. I played during his set. He played during mine.
Oh, that's great.
It's always fun. I feel like...
the reason I wanted to mention G Love is... there's 2 eras of music that I've lived through. The first one was pre-cell phone, pre-iTunes.
Yeah.
And there was a heavy competition between everybody. We came up in the Bay Area, so there was Third Eye Blind and Green Day and Train and Counting Crows, and nobody ever talked to one another because we were so competing for that space on the shelf, And so we would go do all these things, and everything was kind of like that. And it was a little bit of a bummer, because you get wrapped up in it too. You're like, oh yeah, F that guy, man, and it sucks because that's a terrible way to go about your life, And G Love kind of changed that for me, because we did a show with him, and we were in Birmingham, Alabama, where we were really blowing up big in our first album, and he played right before us, and I was like, God, man, you are so good. I love your music, and he was so kind to me. As a veteran, he had been doing it a little while, that it made me go I better start being a fan instead of wanting people to disappear.
Yeah.
And now the new era of music is everybody's kind of fans of each other.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a little bit of, hate going on because haters be hating. But for the most part, the new generation of music, because there's no shelves to compete for, it's only iTunes space, and that's just outer space, that you kind of just can be fans, and then you play on each other's records. And I think the hip-hop community created that vibe where it's I don't want to take your money and you don't want to take my money, so let's just take everybody's money together. It's a really interesting way to go about it, and G Love kind of made me think there's a chance of that, and I really appreciated that.
It's pretty incredible because I my first record came out when I was 30, and I'm 40 now, and so it happened later in my life. And it happened at a time when I feel like right at the time I put my record out, things started collapsing in the record industry, and as far as selling albums and iTunes came in.
Things were becoming right.
Yeah,
it depends on how you want to look at it. Collapsing in a financial way maybe, but now music lovers are getting this is what they should have.
Yeah, it's incredible. But the fan thing, that's how I feel stepping into it. I was always a fan of Jack's music. G Loves, Dave Matthews, you guys. I mean, anybody I would meet, like being at this festival today, it's like
such an honor,
really,
right?
We get to play it for like
totally,
what?
man.
You know,
I feel the same
I trip
way.
Out. Like all the
watching
people that are
these
outside
bands.
here at these dressing rooms, and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
Iron and Wine's over here, and
I know,
you
so
Bad
great.
Religion's over here, and I feel like I'm a geeking out back here. I like, can I shoot photos with these guys?
But isn't that? I think that's the cool thing, and I think you should always be like that. Like I talked to Jim Brewer yesterday, who's a comedian, and he's like that. He's a fan of things, and I think to be a fan is such a cool, humble way to be, because the opposite, where you're the cool band and everybody's trying to get into the cool band's tent, and you'll only have Radiohead in. It's just like, I just think it's super pretentious and too weird. And this is way cooler, and so I love that. So I wanted to ask you about that, but then I wanted to ask you a little bit about surfing, because it said that you were sponsored by Billabong.
Yep.
I mean, that's a massive endorsement, man.
Yeah.
You were a badass surfer. Do you know a guy named Mark Healy?
Yeah.
Are you friends with Mark?
I've known Mark for a long time. I mean, I wouldn't say personal friends, but the surfing communities, it seems large, but it's actually...
Sure.
It's like
music.
anything else. Yeah, everybody knows everybody. And so
Right.
Mark is... And, being a surfer, Mark is somebody that, I definitely idolize as a waterman. I mean, that guy's like on another planet.
Here's my experience with Mark Healy. I didn't know who he was. And I did an episode of Hawaii Five-0, and they always have... they do some pretty heavy stunts.
Yeah.
So they always have a stunt double for you. And the guy was like, dude, what is your weight, on the phone? And I was like, here's my weight, and here's my height. And he's like, seriously? That sounds weird. Like, that doesn't sound right. I'm not sure if I can find a guy, So Mark came to be, he just put like a wig on.
Yeah.
And he was my stunt guy.
Perfect.
And then, because I was like, they were like, hey man, he's a big wave surfer. And I was like, cool, that's awesome. Like, I'm envious, but I didn't know what a badass he was. Then the other actors were like, that guy is the most badass motherfather in the whole land, man. You have no idea. So he did all these stunts like it was nothing. He's like scraped up and broken everywhere. He's like, all right, sweet, bro, see you later. But then I looked him up later, and he is a serious guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, all you guys are. Those waves mean business, and they will beat you.
The kind of surfing, and I still surf professionally, and I still ride for Billabong. I'm still endorsed by all these different, products and companies, and it's incredible. I still surf and do this thing around the world. And it's guys like Mark Healy and the guys Shane Dorian and those guys. They seem to be on another level than from what I am. I like to surf waves and enjoy myself, but I don't ever want to paddle out and
you
I
get
could
to go,
maybe die
You
today.
get to go be like a rock star too, and they don't.
I just want to have a lot of fun,
Yeah.
But those guys get in situations where like, holy shit, I could die. Today could be the day I die, and I know I got a wife and kids. I mean, they do too, but it's like, I don't need that really in my life. And they train 24/7.
Yeah.
So when they get in that situation, like Mark Healy, I think he can hold his breath for like 3 minutes. So
That's
if he falls on a
man.
wave, he's like, this is going to be fun. I mean, not fun, but he could seriously handle it and be calm and control himself. And if I wiped out on one of those waves, I'd be like,
Me too.
freaking out, wanting to pull cords and looking for Shane Dorian to save me. It would be...
It's so interesting to hear that humility about, because those guys are really serious. They're like
You have to be on the top of your game or you'll die. I mean, it's like
you will die.
60-foot waves. I mean, it's like, and what people are doing now on surfing, they're finding, towing in, finding machines because they can't paddle in quick enough. They're like,
Really?
they're riding waves now that are unrideable, but they're doing it. These
Wow.
guys they're nuts. These people are crazy. But
Yeah, but do you ever surf with a sail?
I haven't done any of the kite surfing and any of that stuff, but I see the guys. There's a lot of guys on Kauai, a lot of guys on Maui. I mean, it's incredible.
They have to be the most elite athletes in the world,
So
right?
fit. It's
Don't
a
you
joke.
think that they have to be up there with the most elite?
I mean, if you ever stood on the beach and tried to fly one of those kites without moving, like imagine having this and then having to be on board and strapped and then riding a wave and figuring it out.
It is mind blowing watching it, and then they flip around, go the other way to go out to catch the next batch in. It's watching waves is such a. How much has it influenced your music? Because when you're out there and you're like, whether it's the universe or God or whatever you relate to, where you just go like, hey, thank you for this wave. Thank you for letting me be out here. This is an incredible gift. And then you play guitar, and then you start to write songs and melodies come to you. Like, how much of the spiritual movement is related to what you've learned in the water?
It's all connected for sure. And the thing I love about both of them the most and why I'm so attracted is that they're forever changing. I never go to the beach and go, here I go again, same waves.
Right.
Or, you know, today at 4 when I play, it's going to be like, wow, another gig. Ready, guys? It's like, I have no idea if I'm going to forget the lyrics, break a string. You know,
You could probably do both.
Today's the day. No, but there'll be gigs where I'm in the middle of a verse and I look over at my other guitar player, how's the next verse start? What? You know,
Yeah, me
sometimes
too.
I have stuff happens and then, you know, I get mad at myself, but then at the end of the show, I think those are brilliant moments because, you know, things happen in surfing like they happen like in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But while it happens, it could seem like it happened in 2 minutes, and sometimes it lasts a lifetime. Like
Sure.
that moment, you're like, I can't believe I just did that.
And you got out of it.
And you got out of it, and that's a moment that you kind of hold to yourself because you're not sharing, you know, that wave, and you're on a board with, you know, 3,000 people. Like today,
Yeah.
a moment will happen, and it's like, wow, I can share it with all these people. This is incredible, and
Right.
being a fan of music and just being here, and like every festival and every show I've played has always been changing. And
Right.
songwriting, I never feel like I'm like stuck in a thing. Like I don't know what I'm going to say tomorrow in a song or what or write or anything, but I love
Yeah.
how that's, for me, it never gets boring.
Yeah, I
you
think
know?
that's cool, man.
It's really fun.
You know, I have a tip for you if you're interested. I've been doing this for a long time, and I have a bass player named Hector, and he knows all the words to everything. So if I forget a word, I'll look at him, and if he can't think of the word, then I just yell at him at the end of the night, where I'm like, God damn it, you can't be forgetting a word. You know, like, that's my job to forget, you know. And so, yeah, you should be meaner to your band.
All right.
It sounds like you're being too nice to these guys. Have them learn all the words, and if they ever forget them,
It's very-
while you forget them, they're fired.
Oh my God, I'm all nervous now to play.
So there were a couple of other things I wanted to ask you about. The song, I was told that you worked with a friend of mine, Matt Nathanson.
Yeah.
Now, how close do you know Matt?
You know,
it sounds like he hasn't influenced you, which is a good thing.
No, he's an incredible guy. It was funny. I worked with his producer that's co-written songs and produced all his stuff. And I was in the studio making Glow, and he said, "Hey, I got a guy, Matt Nathanson. I'm making his record. We're writing. He's got some songs." And so it was the first time ever that I had a song that I had nothing to do with. I didn't write it. I didn't write lyrics or any of the words or anything, and I really liked the song.
Oh, cool.
And so it was the first time I had to kind of like, let me adapt this and make it my own.
What was the song?
It was Glow.
Oh,
he
great.
wrote Glow. So, and I loved the song. I never met him, and I recorded the song, put it on the record, put it out. And the first time I met him was at John Oates Singer-Songwriter Festival in
sweet.
Aspen.
That's
and it was
great.
so cool because I never knew Matt was such a character. And,
He's a character.
and he's got he's got an incredible sense of humor, and
Incredible.
he's got a dirty mouth and
Terrible mouth.
Yeah, we went there and did this like singer-songwriter thing, and I thought he was going to be real sweet, and, very.
Nope, nothing
he
about.
went out there. He's like, hey, I can't say it on the radio here, but
Yes, you can.
It was
It's
just-
radio.
It was really good.
He likes to talk about the clitoris a lot, I think.
It was like the craziest thing ever what he was saying, but he played a song and then he brought me out and I was like, wow, man, I wrote Glow with him. I was telling the audience I never met him before, and it was such a great time to meet him and to meet him playing on stage. Like
Yeah.
we really connected. And it was
Matt
so
and I
cool.
get along well because I'm dark like Matt in a lot of ways. I appreciate the depth and the beauty that you carry on Earth, but Matt and I are more kindred spirits because we will get real dark.
Yeah.
And but what's funny about Matt is that he writes such lovely music. But then, when you talk to him, he's like, goddamn fucking shit.
Yeah.
And I love it because that's
how he
what,
was
It's
in
kind
the
of
gig.
like, it's what makes him a great writer and a deeper person too. It's because there's nothing pretentious about the guy.
Yeah.
And that's why I love him, And there's nothing pretentious about you either, which is really what I like about humans.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you're attracted to Hawaii, because there's nothing there. They don't need to pretend anything.
Yeah.
There's like no. I've become very good friends with a little guy out in he lives on Oahu, and his name is Aiden James, and he's a ukulele like virtuoso, and his family are amazing people. So as a young man, he's like 11. He's a 11-year-old Hawaiian boy.
Wow.
And so he did Soul Sister on Hawaii 5-0, and he was just in Seattle where I live with my family, and he went and did a show, asked me to come, and we sang Soul Sister together.
Wow.
And when he introduced the song, because I was like, man, don't introduce me, just do the song, I'll come out. And while he was introducing the song, he said, this is the song that made me want to be a musician. And I was like, wow, that's an amazing thing.
That's incredible.
That this little Hawaiian boy that I live thousands of miles away from, I've influenced like that. And I was so honored that I thought, I feel like it's time for him to start writing some serious songs. I think he's the future of Hawaii. I think he's
so cool.
The future, but not just like a traditional Hawaiian music, because he likes to like plug in his ukulele and make it sound like Zeppelin and shit.
Oh my gosh,
like
how
he's
cool.
like really a cool kid, you know, at 11 years old. So I think that his future is amazing. So hopefully I'm hoping to come to Hawaii more often.
Yeah.
And I hope to visit you and we'll
You're
hang out. I'll
welcome. I
introduce you to
can't
Aiden.
wait. Yeah, I can't wait. It'd be so great.
But until then, do you want to play Glow?
yeah, let's do it.
And
I hope I don't break a string and I remember
Jerry,
the words.
Jerry Becker always comes around with me. He's not good, but he looks amazing. He's a terrible musician, but he's such a beauty that I
Very
can't.
handsome guy.
I can't not have him around.
Jerry, is this we in tune? It's in the key of E, right?
So I was thinking that here's what I would like to do, if it's okay with you, because I have the words here. Is it okay if you sing the verse 1 and 2?
Perfect.
And then I'll sing verse 2. I'm sorry. If you sing verse 1 and chorus 1,
Cool.
and then I'll sing verse and chorus 2, then you just take it out and I'll harmonize
great.
with you
Yeah, be great.
a little bit. Like
Yeah.
you take the bridge and
Yeah. Hey, Grundy,
You know-
want to sing the chorus?
or that banjo is really great, man. You can come over here and we'll put you close to a microphone.
Just sing the chorus with me.
We can put you over here. You can be mostly like this. I'll sing the chorus with you. Yeah, sounds good, man. How come I don't have a banjo player? Somebody's getting fired!
Should we go from here? You sing the chorus with me? Or even some of those first parts. Here we go.
I wanna be your rush. I wanna hold you to the stars. The way the light shines in the park on a Sunday afternoon. I want you to be big, want you to be gold. I want you to be sky. All the more things change, the more they shine, glow. I wanna see you glow. I wanna see your daylight shining all around your heart. I wanna see you glow. I wanna see your daylight so bright all around my soul. Wanna see you soar, wanna see you fly. Kick off the world in the dark and just drive, just drive. The more things change, the more they shine. Glow, wanna see you glow. I wanna see your daylight shining all around your heart. I wanna see you glow. I wanna see your daylight so bright all around my soul. I run this world with you. Don't you know so we can be? I run this world with you. Don't you know so we can be? Glow, I wanna see you glow. I wanna see your daylight shining all around your heart. I wanna see you glow. I wanna see your daylight so bright all around my glow. I wanna see you glow. I wanna see your daylight shining all around your heart. you glow. I wanna see your daylight so bright all around my soul. And then I'm going to Kauai to surf with Donavon when I see you glow. But my wife will probably get up way better than me. I'll probably end up under some wave, and Donavon will have to come out and save me.
All right.
Man, my favorite part was that ad-lib at the end, bro.
That was great.
Man, you should have your banjo player learn how to play that damn thing.
All right.
Awesome, man. Hey, thanks so much for doing that. Let me just wrap up by asking you a few very easy questions that my wife always likes me to end with.
Yes.
So here's the list. If you don't mind, we'll make it as quickly as you can. Very simple questions. What are you afraid of? They're not simple questions.
Forgetting the lyrics.
Forgetting the lyrics. What are you best at?
Oh boy. Jeez.
Yeah, these are easy.
Damn, your wife's got hard questions.
Like the whole interview is nothing, and then all of a sudden,
maybe.
everybody thinks that they're good at so little. It's so
Jeez,
funny.
I
Like you're
don't
good
know.
at 7,000 things, and what do you think that? Like,
I'm
what's
good
the
at, I'm
thing
really
you-
good at loving my family. That's
Great,
easy.
I love that. That's super cool. What's left to do?
Well, load onto the stage and play it for.
Great. And I don't have to ask you the next question, which is how will you do it? Because that
Oh,
seems
boy.
simple. You're just going to go to the stage. Your most memorable personal moment or moments, like something that just stands out. Could have happened last week. Could be the birth of your children.
I mean,
or-
definitely the birth of my two children. But, you know, one of the most memorable moments was when I was able to push my kids into waves. You know, the first time I actually
Sweet.
let them go.
Yeah.
And they stood up and they looked back at me like I'm doing it, you know?
It's
'cause
incredible. Watching little kids do that. I saw, when I was in Maui, I saw a 10-year-old. It was his 10th birthday. And he walked through these crazy rocks to get to where the good waves were going to come in, and he wasn't
Yeah.
going to get killed. But if you're a novice like me and you watch a 10-year-old out there, you go like, somebody save him! Oh my God! And his mom was right there, and she's like, dude, he's been doing this for 8 years. And,
Yeah.
you know, he started when he was like, so, and then he just surfed in every wave. You know, it was awesome.
It's unreal.
I love that you get to do that, man.
Yeah.
I'd love to share that with my children. So, your most memorable professional moment, you could choose either waves or music, since you got such a cool career.
I always trip out. I'm 40 years old, and I turned professional at surfing at 16, and I'm still doing it today. So I think every day that I'm doing this, I'm just in awe. I'm so
Yeah, that's
stoked
awesome.
every day that I'm
Cool.
just moving forward.
Where was your first kiss? You remember it? Did you have that mustache? Because it probably would have been a tough kiss. Because I don't know how she would have
I've had
got
this
to the.
mustache forever. I don't
Have
know.
you?
It might have ruined my first kiss.
Did she say like, "Where are your lips"?
Yeah,
did she
no,
ever say
did.
that?
She's like, "Do you have lips?" And I'm like, "Oh no, first kiss."
Just kiss my mustache.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That was it.
Man, Pergo, look at Pergo's
See,
beard.
Pergo?
I tell him, just shave the beard, man. What are you
Come on,
doing?
dude.
And he's like, no, it's cool. Check it out. Donovan's got a mustache. Okay, so I got very few left. Let's see. Anyone that you wish you could be more like?
I don't know. Anybody I could be more like?
You're kind of good the way you are. That's good.
No, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Maybe more fit, you know, like a Dorian or a Mark Healy or one of those guys. I love to hold my breath underwater if I wiped out on a big wave.
I can teach you how to do that. No, I can't. What's your favorite holiday?
I love Christmas.
Great. What about a song or a record that you wish never existed? Could be your own or somebody else's.
Oh man,
Macarena, perhaps?
You know, it's weird with music. I'm such a fan, and I love pop and all types of music. I've never heard a song and went like, "God, that fucking sucks. I wish that never existed." I love
Let me
everything.
send you some stuff.
Yeah. Give me some of your demos, some of the hits you haven't recorded yet, and I'll record those.
Okay, and
Give it to
then
us.
one last question. Is there something that you have said or something said to you that changed your life forever?
I think when I was younger, I remember my dad saying, just, don't ever, stop doing, I think I even wrote it in a song, don't ever stop doing what you believe in, and I wrote that in that song, Move By Yourself. I remember, because when I grew up in a town where surfing was really not frowned upon, but it was like, you go to a school, what do you mean you're not playing sports? You're going to surf? And it was sort of during the era of like Jeff Spicoli. They're like, well, definitely he smokes weed, you know. And I was like, no, there's athletes, you can make money. And my family, nobody surfed in my family.
Were you a skater?
I love skateboarding. Yeah, I loved it. I love skateboarding. There was a point there where I had to kind of choose: do I keep skateboarding and get injured, or do I focus on surfing?
It's so true, right?
I was getting work.
When
skating.
I'm on a skateboard now, because I'm 44, I go like, this could be the day that it ends.
Yeah.
Do I want it to be on this board?
I don't even skateboard anymore.
It's so like scary, man.
No way. But yeah, I remember my dad.
I love that your dad did that.
Yeah.
Is your dad still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive, still
Awesome.
married to my mom, and they still ask me, "You make a living doing what?"
Yeah.
They're like, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm still serving."
How do those kids survive? What are you doing?
Yeah, no, they think I'm like doing something else. I don't know.
Hey man, I love it. I love your life. I love you and your vibe, and I think that you're. Thank you for putting great energy out there, not just with your music, but obviously the light of your life.
Yeah,
you're a really decent human being. So
and
thanks for doing this.
Thank you guys for your music. I mean, I'm a fan. It was a pleasure playing with this guy and singing with you. This was like an honor. I gotta shoot a photo right now
for
with
us
you guys,
too.
right?
Let's get a twit pic, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, or
Thank you, guys.
probably not for a long time. All right, peace out.
Peace out.
All right, that was Donavon Frankenreiter. You can find Donovan at DonavonF, like Frankenreiter.com, DonavonF.com. His Twitter is at DFrankenreiter, and it's FrankenReiter. He's got shows coming up in South America, and he'll be playing a series of beach shows in Southern California leading up to New Year's at the end of December. His latest album is called Start Livin'. It's available now, and if you want to know more about me, go to @Patcast Podcast on Twitter, or go to patcast.com on iTunes or anywhere else. Peace.